Monkey with Soft King News, and we're talking to the ladies from Middlewich. Now, this is a short, but it's 20. I always love the longer shorts. It's 20 minutes, it's saying. Okay. This one really intrigued me because it tells almost like a sci-fi. I don't want to compare it to Harry Potter, but it's very a magical story about a middle child. And the thing that hit me the most is you guys were very organic with your special effects. Like very. I love that. So give me a little bit about the story in your own words for folks at home.
Yeah, well, Little Witch is a coming-of-age story about a teenage witch named Tasha, and we draw a lot on fantasy adventure films from the 80s. They use a lot of practical effects and really, like you said, organic elements. And we're trying to use that space as a landscape for telling coming-of-age stories, particularly about girls of color. Because that genre has been overwhelmingly white and male. So we're trying to kind of take that nostalgic element and use it in a new way.
That's cool. I think it's really interesting to use the middle sister out of all of it, which, are either of you a middle sister or a middle child?
I'm actually a younger sister.
And I'm the older sister.
Yeah. In the beginning of season, we actually had a couple conversations about that dynamic. The differences between being a younger sister and a older sister. But you have
I'm the oldest of 3 girls. And a middle sister is in a really unique position where they're frequently trying to prove themselves as independent, and there's always an older sister who's very protective, and you get stuck. You're kind of stuck in the middle. So this is a film about being beneath someone in age who is really talented and trying to figure out a way to prove yourself on your own terms.
Now I have to ask a little about the main character because the photo that they show for the film fest, she has this very almost like she looks like she's that kid who's like sassy and you know, it really is. She's like that strong, independent, like you said, really trying to prove herself. Like, how far do you guys push that?
She's a badass kid. She's tough. She's a tomboy, and she rides around with a baseball bat, and you know, she has skin knees.
That's what I'm looking for, right there.
And she's a tough kid, but I think also we were really conscious of not making a character that felt like a stereotype. And so she has a lot of vulnerabilities. She is complex, and it's really important to both of us to tell stories about girls and women who are whole characters, who have as many flaws as they do heroic qualities.
I mean, I think a lot of Tasha is, a lot of it is that she is badass, but she also, doesn't really quite feel comfortable in the role yet. It's still something that she's trying to establish for herself. And I think a lot of that shows in the film. By the end of the film, she's kind of has established herself.
So I will ask about the special effects, or how, a short film. I saw the costume in the picture too. I was like, that's really good. I like that. And it did remind me, I'm a big Dark Crystal fan, so I kind of got that. I saw that and went, that's very Skeksis. I like that. That's very cool. How different? Did you guys build the costumes yourself? Did you have somebody, were there explosions? Tell me about them.
Go ahead. I was just going to say, we had a practical effects team who brought them in pretty much at the beginning. And we would have tons of concept meetings with them, and we would just sort of, it was a very involved process. It's probably like the biggest component of the film.
Yeah, well, because there were so many elements, we have this giant bird, and it's built like a hawk. It has 3 eyes, and it's like the size of a minivan.
Wow.
But in the world of the story, but we didn't want to bring in we wanted to bring in as little digital post-work as possible. So it's a combination of 3 different puppets of different sizes and different amounts of detail. And that was the bird. We also have a giant fish that eats a giant egg, and we have an egg that is glowing that gets carried around, and a nest on the back of a giant concrete crab that crawls around on its own in this abandoned lot. And we were building a whole world. The concept is kind of, we're drawing on things like Never-Ending Story and Return to Oz, and like you said, Dark Crystal and Labyrinth, that whole genre of films about like other worlds where mundane things have really intense mystical elements. So we worked with a puppet maker named Jason Vines, who's local in Austin, where this film was made. And they did a tremendous job. Yeah.
Fantastic. So editing is obviously easier without all the special effects. How long did you take to shoot it then?
It was about 14 days.
Okay.
And then we also had some hiccups later on. But it was, the practical effects definitely extended our shooting time.
Yeah.
Yes. And we were shooting on an abandoned lot with no electricity in the middle of the summer.
Oh!
And our puppets are heavy and hot, and working with children, so it was there. And we had some animals, and there were always a lot of circumstances that made things take longer than you would expect them to do. So in a way, it felt like we were transported to like a dangerous environment during production.
That's awesome, and I'm impressed. For a 20-minute short, this is a huge project. Wow, that's all I really want to see this now. One last question: what's in your future? Do you want to expand this? Do you have another thing you guys are working on?
We have a couple things going on. With Middle Witch specifically, we're developing a television concept and working off of that same world of Girls with Magic, who are in abandoned urban industrial spaces doing spells. So we're developing that concept and have been working on a pilot. And Natalie is herself writing several things.
Very cool, very cool. Well, as a father of 2 daughters, this really sounded cool. I'm going to bring my youngest because she's really into this kind of stuff. So thank you so much for talking with me. I enjoyed hearing about your movie. We're here at the OakCliff Film Fest. My name is Monk.